Okay, this is going to be a test stream because as you can see, I've upgraded because I have to do most of these videos while I'm at my place of employment. So I prefer that nothing around me be seen. So I was able to fiddle with OBS and get backgrounds ready and all that snazzy jazz. So this is a special episode today. We're going to go over shade vessels, which is the replacement in Shades of Dominion for lands. That's what you have to imagine this as. This is the playing land cards, tapping for mana. All of that in Shades of Dominion is done through your Shade Vessel. And Shade Vessels are unique, and they are up to you. And when they're removed of that unique factor, you're going to discover in this video why that's very bad. So your first shade vessel is up to you at character creation. You get to pick whatever you want as long as it's within reason, as long as it's like a handheld object, an item that you hold dear, something that you particularly enjoy. Uh, your shade vessel is what seals you to the shade. This is what allows you to do all of the things that you do with the shade. And so over here, we're going to have a quick look that way. It's that way. We're going to have a quick look at your shade vessel. It permits you to make your siphon, sip, and stain rolls. It also permits you to do cantrips, which we haven't done yet in the live show yet. You can actually use the shade to boost your skill tests to improve your performance. None of our shade mages have done that yet. They might not have been aware that they could, but it is an option to use during combat and skill tests. You can actually buff yourself using the shade through your shade vessel, because that's how all the shade is used to the shade mage. Your shade vessel also can convert the unstained shade that you have not successfully stained into stained shade. As a half action, you can convert 3 unstained shade into 1 stained shade, as long as your shade vessel's in your possession. Now, this is where things get uh, really cool. Your shade vessel is incredibly powerful and intimate. And as such, anyone trying to use your shade vessel takes damage equal to your shade score for every time that it's in use. So if you have a shade score of 5 or 6, chances are the creature holding your shade vessel is not in good shape. Um, Even if it is lost or destroyed in any way, shape, or form, this can happen. There are spells that are going to be able to destroy your shade vessel. That will happen. There are spells in the works, especially as we get more followers, get get this product more popular. There will be more powerful spells that will be able to uh, siphon from and even destroy shade vessels outright. If you get to that power level, that is entirely possible. But if that happens, you can recreate or teleport it to you as a full action at the cost of a slip level from the shade vessel. The way that a shade vessel works is you take the shade from the world that you're on, and this kills the world that you're on. But you're able to siphon from the realm to your shade vessel, and the shade vessel measures its level of uh, its shade level based on what's called a sip level. Every time you sip from the shade, you have a set amount of shade that you can stain or leave unstained, is what you're able to do. However, what we're going to explore now is what happens when shade vessels are no longer personal. And here we are. This is what happens when the shade vessel loses its sacred nature. You would think that being a shade mage, having the power to siphon shade from the realm would make you their greatest threat. You're not. That honor belongs to the Yaniv, and we're going to go into why the Yaniv are so dangerous in this Shade Lord video. The Yaniv are a Sorry, scrolled too far. The Yaniv are a creation of shade mages united by the knowledge and wisdom of Soiros. Yeah, we did that. Who rules in the realm of Orwalakia. Shade vessels are supposed to be unique to a shade mage, but when a cabal of artificers succeeded in merging theirs into a set of identical, cooperative, interlinked shade vessels, the shade likewise merged them physically and warped them mentally. They became the first Yaniv. The Yaniv are hideous, malformed creatures with haphazard traits, features, and limbs. They are not identical, but it is clear that they are a mishmash of one another. They are grotesque and mannish. They are further disfigured by their use of the shade, which requires them to physically mutilate themselves in order to cast their spells. The danger of each Yaniv is that they all possess the same combined might. Each Yaniv possesses one another's spells, attributes, scores, and etc. When a Yaniv must siphon the shade, it does so for every shade vessel in its collective, and it can drain a realm of the shade in mere hours, whereas a shade mage just might take a couple of days. I know. Luckily for you, each Yaniv usually works alone while believing that they are the head of the collective and that all other Yaniv are out working for their interest. This makes the necessary task of eliminating them quite manageable. The reason Shade Mages must work together to eliminate the Yaniv is that not only will the Yaniv drain a realm of its shade, they will also steal other shade vessels and transmute them. So the Shade Mage who owns it turns into a Yaniv. This increases their number and increases the power level of each Yaniv in their collective. The Shade, as you can tell, is not kind to the Yaniv for their hubris. For every Yaniv also suffers from a dysmorphic delusion as their shade affliction. Every Yaniv is cursed with the belief that they must adopt the physical form of their dysmorphia. For one Yaniv, they must believe that they are in fact a mermaid. For another, that they are a hedgehog. Far more distressing is that if a Yaniv catches on that you do not immediately know what they believe themselves to be, then you will be attacked until you are dead. A very popular example of this. There's a tale of a shade mage who stupidly called a horn-wearing Yaniv a goat. That shade mage had their intestines inverted for not correctly guessing guardian of Mephistopheles. So, if a Yaniv is found, gather your friends around and dispatch of it quickly. Luckily for you, the Yaniv are cursed by the shade furthermore in that none of them have access to the Vitality Dominion. They cannot cast green spells. Count your blessings. This means that unlike the elves, the Yaniv are unable to just turn off your aspects with nature spells. And that is another aspect of the Shades of Dominion, is it's true to the original source of Magic the Gathering in what certain dominions or colors are limited to. Nature specifically has the purview of destroying character aspects, which our party recently discovered because they walked into a room with elves and no more character aspects. All those wonderful boons you took at character creation turned off. And to turn each one on, you got to spend an enormous amount of shade and waste a full turn just to turn one of them on. For a frame of reference, imagine if you had a combination of feats that worked really well together, and there's like 2 or 3 of them. You have to spend a turn turning each of one of them on. So the Yaniv cannot do it, but the elves can, and the elves did. So our Shade Mages tomorrow will be having a lot of fun turning on their character aspects, or just faring off as they normally are. But that is today's lore video with Shade Vessels and the Yaniv. Hope you enjoyed this and the new format and the new video. And I like the new spiffy background. It's very shady. This has been the Shade Master. God bless.